Imagine this, the sun is just beginning to rise. The world feels quiet, almost still. A young man stands by his window, a notebook in his hand, and whispers a few English words to himself. His voice is shaky, but his eyes are filled with hope. He doesn't have expensive teachers. What he has is just 15 minutes. And in those 15 minutes, he is building a bridge from silence to fluency, from fear to confidence. Welcome, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to walk together into a story about how only 15 minutes a day can open the door to English fluency. This isn't just about vocabulary or grammar. It's about changing the way you see yourself. Step by step, word by word. As you listen, I invite you to notice how the words live inside the sentences. Feel them. Don't just translate them. And remember, growth doesn't come from speed. It comes from persistence. Before we dive in, I want to ask you one thing. Where are you listening from? And what time is it right now in your country? Share it below. I'd love to see how many parts of the world gather here to grow together. Now let's begin. What will you gain in these moments? You'll practice your listening. You'll discover new words and phrases as they breathe inside a real story. And most of all, you'll carry away a piece of inspiration, something you can hold on to when life feels too heavy. Let's step into the scene. Into the scene. The man at the window. Let's call him Daniel. He lives in a crowded city. The streets outside are loud, full of car horns, sellers calling, footsteps rushing. But inside his small apartment, there is a quiet ritual. Every morning, Daniel gives himself 15 minutes. He sets his phone on airplane mode. He places a glass of water on the table, and then he whispers, "Today, I will practice." At first, his practice is simple. He listens to a short story in English. He pauses. He repeats. His tongue feels heavy, like it doesn't belong to him. Words like courage, patience, and freedom sound strange in his mouth. But still he repeats them, and something begins to happen. These 15 minutes become more than just practice. They become a mirror. In that mirror, Daniel doesn't just see a man learning English. He sees a man refusing to give up, a man daring to change his life. You see, my friend, learning English fluently isn't about giant leaps. It's about small, faithful steps. Think of a seed planted in the ground. You don't see it grow every day, but beneath the soil, something powerful is happening. The roots are reaching, stretching, preparing for the sunlight. Daniel's 15 minutes are like that seed. Invisible growth, quiet progress. One day he hears a word in a movie, resilient. It means strong after difficulty. He repeats it softly, resilient, resilient. He doesn't just memorize the meaning. He feels it. He thinks of his own life, his own struggles, and suddenly the word is not just English, it is his story. Another morning, he practices the phrase step by step. He says it while tying his shoelaces. He says it while washing the dishes. Step by step. The phrase becomes a rhythm in his day, a gentle reminder that progress is never instant, but always possible. And yet there are days when Daniel doesn't feel strong. Days when his alarm rings, and he wants to sleep longer. Days when the words don't stick. Days when he feels foolish, talking alone in his room. But here is the truth. Persistence is stronger than doubt. And 15 minutes, given with heart, can defeat even the loudest voice of discouragement. Picture this. Daniel standing at the bus stop. Around him, people scroll on their phones. But Daniel, he whispers quietly to himself, Today is a new chance. The morning sun glows on the horizon. His 15 minutes are finished, but his spirit carries the words with him, like fire in his pocket. And tomorrow, he will return to that window, that notebook, that quiet ritual of hope. Because sometimes, the smallest routines become the greatest revolutions. The story of Daniel is not just his story. It is also the story of anyone who has ever dreamed of speaking English with freedom. Maybe you too know that quiet desire, the wish to express yourself without fear, to share your ideas clearly, to join conversations without hesitation. Let's go deeper into Daniel's journey. One rainy evening, after a long day of work, Daniel sits on his bed feeling tired. His shoes are wet, his back aches, and the world feels heavy. He thinks, what difference will 15 minutes make today? But then, he remembers a phrase he once practiced. Don't break the chain. It means keep going, even if it's only a small step. So, he opens his notebook. The rain taps softly against the window, and the city outside blurs into shadows. He begins to read aloud. The future belongs to those who prepare today. The words echo in his small room. He doesn't just say them, he feels them, and something changes. His exhaustion doesn't disappear, but it transforms. Instead of a heavy burden, it becomes a fire. He smiles faintly. He knows he kept his promise to himself, and this is where the magic begins. When practice becomes more than study, it becomes an act of faith. As the weeks pass, Daniel's 15-minute ritual begins to shape his days. He notices how certain words carry power. The word focus stays with him. He repeats it whenever his mind wanders. On the bus, in the market, at work. He whispers focus, and suddenly this English word becomes a compass, guiding him back to the present. The phrase keep going becomes another companion. When he feels doubt, he hears those two simple words. They are not just grammar. They are encouragement. They are life. This is the secret most learners never realize. English is not only a language you learn, it is a language you live. One day, something remarkable happens. Daniel is sitting in a cafe. Two tourists at the table beside him are struggling to order. The waiter looks confused. For a moment, Daniel hesitates. His heart beats fast. His old fears return. But then, he remembers step by step. He leans forward gently and says, "Excuse me, can I help?" The tourists look relieved. The waiter smiles, and Daniel, in his clear but simple English, helps them order their food. It lasts only a few minutes, but for Daniel, it feels like a victory. He did not speak perfectly. He did not need to. He spoke bravely. When he walks out of the cafe, the world feels different. The air seems lighter. The street seems wider. And inside him there is a quiet voice that says, I can do this, my friend. Maybe you have felt the same fear. The fear of making mistakes, of sounding strange, of being judged. But let me tell you something important. Every mistake is a step forward. Every attempt is proof of courage. Think of a child learning to walk. Do we laugh when the child falls? No. We cheer, because falling means the child is trying. The same is true for you. Every stumble in English is a sign that you are moving. So when you practice, don't chase perfection. Chase connection. Chase meaning. Chase growth. Because English is not about flawless grammar. It is about sharing your heart. Now, picture Daniel again. Weeks have turned into months. His mornings are steady. His 15 minutes sacred. He still feels shy sometimes. But inside something is unfolding. Each phrase, each word is like a stone on a path. And slowly, That path is leading him somewhere beautiful, toward a life where he is no longer silent, no longer trapped behind hesitation. Where is that path taking him? Let's walk with him a little further. Months have passed, and Daniel's life has begun to shift in subtle, powerful ways. His mornings are no longer just a routine, they are a ritual, a promise to himself. And with each 15-minute session, his English has become not just words, but wings. One bright morning, Daniel receives an email. It is from his company. There will be a special meeting next week with an international partner, and they need someone to help with simple English communication. At first, his chest tightens. He thinks, "Not me. I'm not ready." But then, he remembers the many mornings by the window, the countless times he whispered phrases into the silence, the courage he felt when he helped the tourists in the cafe. He takes a deep breath and replies, "Yes, I will try." The night before the meeting, Daniel cannot sleep. He lies in bed, heart racing. Words float in his mind. Confidence, step by step, resilient. They feel like old friends now, voices that have walked beside him for months. Morning arrives. He walks into the meeting room, his palms sweating. The partner from abroad greets the team. Daniel listens carefully, nodding, waiting for his moment. When the time comes, he speaks. His voice is not perfect, but it is steady, clear, brave. And as the meeting continues, something extraordinary happens. For the first time, Daniel feels not like a student of English, but like a speaker of English. When the meeting ends, his colleagues smile. His manager pats his shoulder, and Daniel, he steps outside, into the sunlight, with tears almost in his eyes. He knows those small 15 minutes were never small. They were the foundation of this moment. My friend, maybe you wonder, can 15 minutes really change a life? Look at Daniel. Look at his quiet persistence. Every morning, he chose to show up. He chose practice over excuses. And step by step, he built something greater than just language. He built confidence. This is the lesson I want you to carry. You don't need hours of study to transform. You need consistency. You need heart. You need those small, steady steps that grow into mountains. Think of a candle lit in the dark. Alone, it seems small. But day after day, if you light it again and again, soon you have enough candles to fill the whole room with light. That is what your 15 minutes can become. So, as you listen now, imagine yourself as Daniel. Imagine your own window, your own notebook, your own 15 minutes of hope. Imagine the future you speaking freely, smiling confidently, joining conversations with ease. That future is waiting for you. And it begins not tomorrow, not next year, but today, with just 15 minutes. Here are the words Daniel carried: focus, keep going, resilient, step by step. Notice how they live in his story. Maybe they can live in your story too. Use them in your day, whisper them in your quiet moments. Let them guide you. Because English is not just a subject, it is a companion on your journey of growth. And now, as we close this story, I want to leave you with a simple image. Daniel walking down the street, the morning sun warming his face. He carries no heavy books, no complicated lessons. What he carries is invisible, but powerful. The courage of persistence, the strength of small steps, the quiet fire of belief. And that same fire is inside you. If this story touched your heart, I invite you to stay with us. Subscribe, so together we can continue exploring stories, lessons, and the language that connects us all. And don't forget in the comments, tell me your country and the time of day right now where you are. Let's see how far this circle of learners truly reaches, because no matter where you are, no matter when you listen, your 15 minutes can become the beginning of a lifetime of fluency. Step by step, my friend, step by step.